Welcome back to Realistic Progression 1. Now, we failed at last contract, and this is the second craft that I made two of them, remember? And we failed it because we ran out of charge. Even so, we also pretty much couldn't communicate with anything. So, unfortunately, that mission had a deadline of 24 hours, and I did see that, but I thought that was just from the launch of any of the craft that you launch. Nope, it's the launch of the first one, so you could never fly a second flight on those missions, so do watch out for that. I did try and refly it. I got to an orbit of around 500 by 450 or so of kilometers, and still couldn't communicate with anything, so I don't think that's actually really possible without a ComSat network up there, and some more charge. Some more charge we can handle, but ComSat network, not just yet. So we've got this core. We don't need this film camera anymore, I don't think. Yeah, that was for that specific mission. We're just editing the second craft, so let me just take that off. Go away. And there we go. See, we got that upper stage again. Now, I did spend the science that we got from the last mission, even though we failed the mission, we got science while we were up there, on a new node. That's the orbital rocketry node for 1959, but we're in 62, so we need to get more science to accelerate our R&D program. It's too slow at the moment. What did unlock, however, is new science. So I can take this magnetometer boom, an orbital perturbation experiment. I don't think I need a micrometeorite detector because I think this probe core may already have it built in. Let's take a look. Does the probe core have it? Do you have, what experiments do you have? Impacts, pressure, mass spectrometer, radiation. Oh, maybe not. Maybe not. So let's take that one as well then. Because other cores may not have it anyway, so we may as well have one. Obviously, this is taking us down by about 14,000. We were on 460, but because we failed, we lost 60. So that is another one you've got to consider. Okay, so we've got lots more science, and that probably means we should look at equipping this with some of those. Let's take a look at how big they are, though. Is that too large? Interesting. What happens when I try and attach this to anything? Yeah, you see, it's not great in that position. But at the same time, it's going to be hard to position that anywhere. But these are the ones that should be okay. The perturbation experiment. Let's just put that on there. And micrometeorite detector, how big are you? Oh, you're not too bad as well. And I'm going to just take off this because we've got these whip aerials and we're just going to be getting some science from low space, so we may as well put this in place as well. Okay, hopefully I'm not inducing too much torque on the vehicle. Early television camera, is that actually something we can beam back, or does it have to be collectible? It's collectible. This is not a collectible mission. Interesting that this logs impacts. May not want that either. How about this one? Let's put them on and see if we can actually transmit any of them. I just fancy it. Let's give that a go. There's our television camera. And good luck getting this to attach anywhere useful. I guess we can put it on here-ish. Will that fit? Just about. Okay, let's give that a go. That does look like it's going to induce some torque. That's worth giving a good try, though. Yeah, so let's press Save Edits. And we should be able to go to launch. So here we are on the launch pad. I'm going to just make sure I correct this staging issue. I forgot to do this in the VAB, but I can do it just with one flight. I'm going to fly the same mission with these two boosters, even though we don't actually need to because it's just the science really vessel. We just want something up there. So we're going to fly it to polar. So again, forced roll. I'm not going to auto stage because these two SRBs, solid rocket boosters, they produce thrust almost immediately. So assuming the main engine doesn't fail, these will be able to lift the rocket off the actual pad even without anything else happening. So it would be a waste of fuel for me not to take off almost immediately. In fact, I'm not sure whether I can just basically add them to the same stage, but I'll keep them in separate stages. Let's give this a go and see how it goes. Are you going to fail? Nope. No immediate failure of the S3 engine, which is the main stage. That's the main danger. It's going to force rollers, so we're going to turn 90 degrees. And then we're going to be pitching over, heading in that direction. Okay. So this saves quite a bit of delta V from auto staging and quite a bit of fuel, of course. So let's speed this up a little bit. And in fact, no, because I want to watch out, because I'm going to manually stage these two SRBs as well. So 3 seconds, it's going to get quiet. There it goes. And at this point, well, maybe they had a bit too much fuel in them. But they didn't crash into us anyway. Yeah, so as it gets to the very, very bottom of this, they produce a lot less thrust. So you sort of want to manage getting rid of them at certain points. Perhaps not that early, but at a certain point anyway. So we can carry on just accelerating physical time warp and heading up and over. It's going to be a little bit shaky. Shouldn't be much of a problem, but yeah, up and over we go. And I'm going to just re-enable these. As science here and now will stop me from over-accelerating through a particular zone that we want. And we should have everything we need, although I'm not getting any notifications at the moment. Maybe they're all orbital. Let's just quickly make sure that somehow nothing's gone wrong. No, all our experiments are in there, so that's not really a problem. And let's head up and over to first stage burnout. Over it comes. We're going quite high, remember, so we're going along this path basically because we want this sort of 500 kilometers orbit. And here it comes, first stage burnout. So let's get rid of our fairings. Off they go. We're obviously well over the Kármán line. And we're detached. So at this point, we can now get some various bits of science. So what have we got for each of these? So 1 point orbital perturbation, and we can send that back. Magnetic scan, and we can send that back. Maybe I better move this one instead. We can send that back. And what about this one? Great, we can transmit them all. So that means if any of these are biome dependent, we can get quite a lot of science. If they're not, then, well, we'll see. In space near Earth's water, so let's accelerate and see if it gives us another biome. If not, there's no problem. And it is biome dependent. Good. So we've got 3 minutes to Apo, so we may as well just take all of these and transmit them. And we've got forest queuing up behind them, so let's grab all those as well. And they'll go away. Now, what have we got left? We've got 2 minutes 45. So we just have to accelerate that a little bit, and we can. There's no real reason for us not to. Remember, however, that our next stage is 2 minutes 18, not the previous 1 minute 55. So it is 1 minute 9 seconds or so either side of the node that we want. I normally start a little bit early because we have this top stage which can correct things. So I'm not too much of a concern here, and our electric charge is just fine, so we don't have much of a problem. So let's just bring it down to, I don't know, 1 minute 30 something, 30. Yeah, let's just start it up. And our AJ10. Okay, and it's going to recenter. And we're going to keep going. Even with this lopsided magnetometer boom, we should be still fine. If it's very light, it wouldn't be much of a problem for the engine. Otherwise, what I'd probably do if we had a huge fairing is probably put it pointing upwards or mounted to this. But because this is going to detach, I don't really want to attach it to our service module stage. So this is going to take it a while to go through, and I'm not going to cover that on camera. So we'll wait until we're at stage separation and we're about to hit orbit. And just as we're heading towards orbit, I just want to show you using this flight path angle. If we have a look here about a time till the Apo, as I decrease the angle now, we should be fine. We're coming in. It's coming in still towards apoapsis, but we want to keep this relatively static until we're almost in the final stages. And we are in the final stages now, so I'm going to have to press this anytime. Ooh, now. Okay, so 341 by 227. That's not too bad. And let's get rid of that stage. Okay, so 342 by 279. That's pretty good. And yeah, we're going to get more science, of course. Let's just transmit that back. And we've got the autopilot disengaged, so we can enable RCS. And now we can tell smart ASS to point us prograde. And this is just the equivalent of the node system, but integrated with MechJeb. So this should point us back in the right direction that we want. And then, of course, we can think about starting ourselves spinning or something along those lines. These solar panels aren't terribly good, it has to be said. So obviously we're facing away from the sun at the moment, so they're not going to be great. But even when they're pointing in the right direction, they're not terribly good. However, we can start ourselves rotating to try and keep as many of them in the sunlight as possible. You know, we don't care too much other than that. Let's tell it to kill rotation for now. And now we should be able to time warp forwards and try and get some more science. So what biomes have we got available? Okay, so we've got even more. Ooh, that went through that biome pretty quickly. So we can reset that one. That's not going to give an easy science. Visible imaging is, I think, was that the equator? It was some kind of biome that didn't last very long anyway. So let's carry on going. What else can we get? Tundra. Yep, take all of those. So it's a few science for each one. What are we up to now? 18. Okay, so we're pretty much close to another node, if not already. I'm going to carry on and do this. Obviously, you don't need to watch me do all this. You've seen that. I think what I am going to do, though, is, however, I'm going to take manual control. Oh, no, we're out of connection. I'm not going to take any manual control. I'm going to carry on doing this, and then I'm going to get ourselves pointed the solar panels at the sun when we get an opportunity, and then start it spinning, so at least some of them are in, well, it stays pointing in one direction is the main thing. And one of the other ways to try and get rid of your craft when you don't need them anymore, which is what I don't need for this, is to deorbit them. And we should have enough RCS in here to deorbit. It doesn't need very much to deorbit if you're at the apo to bring the periapsis down, as long as it's not too high. And as you can see, we're already at 90 and coming down to 80, which is well inside the atmosphere, which even if this didn't crash us, it would bring down the apo every time we went through the atmosphere. We're about to run out of RCS. I just thought I'd show you this bit rather than use it for range safety. If you don't want to, you know, assume that you've got explosives on board, then, you know, we can accelerate down. And in we come. This isn't going to be pretty. Oh, of course, now we have more experiments. Fine, the Tega biome. Okay, so that was not easy to get, but we're running out of electric charge as well. But I've pretty much got all the other biomes, I think. Let's take a look. Yeah, so 44.7 plus whatever we just got. That's pretty cool. And we're about to run out of sunlight as wonderful sunset. And we're about to come in to a rather sort of hot finish on our vessel. Oh, and of course now we get even more science. Right. I'll just gather it as we head into the atmosphere because we get flying high science and we're still in connection somewhere, so it's at least useful that we're able to do that before our electric charge runs out. I don't think we're going to be able to get flying low science. Unfortunately, that micrometeorite detector as well is useless. It's only for impacts, so just thought I'd strap it on here just in case and see what that goes to. So let's descend further into the atmosphere. This isn't going to last very much longer. Are we starting to move yet? We can't hold this this particular attitude for very long. As soon as we get low enough, we'll sort of disintegrate. And that final amount of science that we got on the way down actually brought our science total up to 54, which I'm very happy with for one sort of slightly reused from a failed mission rocket. We got an extra 50 science or so, which at this stage of the game is great. So we can do a few things with it. Let's take a look. We can advance our avionics and probes. That's one option. Lunar range communications. Primitive solar panels. I would like better solar panels, to be fair. So that's probably a good thing to go for. Because those existing ones are terrible. They just are. There's a solid rocket engines. We can go even further into 1960 orbital rocketry. That probably will have more engine upgrades for us. Does it have an AJ-10 upgrade as well? Yeah, it does. The AJ-10 142. These are taking quite a long time at the moment to actually get through. But as you can see, it's only 22. And we've got 54. So we can get a few nodes. Early flight control. Is that lots of RCS? Hydrazine upgrade. That's cool. And the full RCS quads, which will be nice to actually get rather than assembling our own. It reduces the part count, and that's good for all kinds of things. And then more airplane stuff, which we're not going to do airplanes too much in this one. Human rated, yeah, heat shields. We're not going to need those just yet, I don't think. So we got a choice between a few things, and we want to optimize the number of upgrade points that we get, I think. So let's see. I want these solar panels. I just want them. And lunar range communications, that's 10. What have we got here? 19. That would be 29. Which we don't have room for too many more nodes. Solid rocket engines, that's the Altair. That's actually kind of nice. And a baby sergeant upgrade. 13, that would take us down to 25. Do we have anything else that's close to 25? 22 for the orbital rocketry. Okay. So why don't we go for the solid rocket engines? Unless I can get some more science in. Is there any more science down here? Nope. I have to go through those nodes to get science. That's 25. So, ooh, that's actually close. But we'd have to go through these anyway. What's in this node? Okay, the radar altimetry sensor and infrared radiometer. So those would be nice too. Although this one... no, it's not to do with this node. This is just, we need an upgraded R&D. And that's a million credits. We're not going to have that anytime soon. So let's go for engines. Why not? So orbital rocketry and solid rocket engines. Always good choices. And obviously we'll try and get more of these science that we've got here from various other biomes. We'll probably only get them from flying high, so we'll be able to leave that on the ground. We'll be able to leave, well, take our early magnetometer boom maybe off, see what we need to do for further probes. So why don't we go and design something? Let's go and see what we got for missions now. If there's any missions that don't have any of those crazy 24-hour deadlines. Because that was awful. So lunar impactors we're not going to get to just yet, I suppose, unless we can build something for them. And we'll just quickly check that. That's the horrible one, the one with the time limit of 1 day. And again, this is exactly the same mission. So unless we have a better craft or comms networks of some kind, we can't do that. We are getting missions for first communication satellite, of course. So we need to put a ComSat payload of 322 units on this and achieve orbit. With a minimum inclination of 35 degrees, minimum perigee of 850, and apogee of more than 4,500. So that's actually quite high. And yeah, that's something we need to think about. All right, let's go and see if we can build a craft for this kind of thing. Also possibly the sun synchronous. That again is not too bad. Above 300k, we can do that. Eccentricity low, we can do that. An inclination, you know, I think we can do that with the Indigo Alpha. I think we can just take stuff off it just to give it a bit more delta V, you know, all the experiments and stuff. But we can get 66,000 from that. Is there any issues with the periapsis? I don't think there is. So I think we can take that. We've got 365 days to do it. So I think I will fly that one. That's useful. Weather satellite. Eccentricity, and that's very, very circular. And we need a WeatherSat payload on that. So I will probably come back to that one, but it's lesser amounts of money. And we don't have any others other than sounding rockets, which are all requiring payload. There's no altitude ones left. So we're, I think, looking at flying the sun synchronous next, but that will be using the same craft, so I'm not going to show that on camera. I will instead... maybe let's look at designing a new vehicle once we get to the point of unlocking our next node. We've got, where are we? In the tech upgrades. We've got 819 days. Okay, so let's upgrade those. And we can go in our R&D. We've got 3 funds. So 819 days, let's increase this. Okay, and what is it now? 663, that's a bit better. We could use some more funds to buy a couple more upgrades, so let's just buy 2 more. Okay, and let's put more into R&D. So 10 science per year. Nice round figure. And we're at 573. So still, you know, 18 months away or whatever it is, but a lot closer than we were. And this 1958 orbital rocketry will get us to be able to upgrade our engines. And are there any new engines that we can get in that node? 58. Where are you? There we are. So, the RD-105s. Okay, so that was the Russian side of things. And Lunar, some, you know, moon missions. AJ-10 upgrade to the AJ-1042. So that will be a little bit better. And all the rest are engine upgrades, I think. Yeah. So just these two new engines. Well, is it the same engine? It is, just a different model. Just one new engine and lots of upgrades, which will be very welcome, and see what our capabilities increase to. So I'm going to fly that mission, and I'll see you shortly. So here we are in the VAB, and we've advanced our nodes, our technology, to the next sort of research point, and in there we have the new engine upgrades. So let's take a look at what we can do with them. Let's take a look at the LR-79 first of all. So the LR-79, whoops. Let's take a look at the engine. So we have the S3 and the S3D now. This is a new engine. So if we have a look at the LR-79s, and let me just actually get off that for a second. LR-79, there we go. So let's take a look. I just want to see what the burn through. Is it exactly the same, or is it going, well, the rated burn time I should say, is the same. S3 and S3D is the same burn time, 165 seconds. We're sort of pushing it a little bit on this rocket, but that's fine. So there shouldn't be any problems with that. I shouldn't have to change the size of this first stage. We can just switch out the rocket engine and have a look at the Delta V, 10134, 10171. So not much more, but it you know, it's an upgrade. So we'll save that. And going up here, we've got the AJ-10. Now the AJ-10 should be quite a bit different, I think, if the first upgrade is pretty good. So what have we got in here? We have the ability, let's just grab that. We can go from the AJ-10 37 or the 42. So on here, let's have a look at what they can actually fly with. So the 37 is 115 seconds. We know we stretched that and took a bit of a risk. The 42 is 150 seconds, however. So, you know, 2 minutes 30, and we're at 2 minutes 18 right now. So we can stretch that a little bit more and get even more Delta V out of this. So if I just let's just change that over first of all. Let's change that to the 42. And let's go back a second. So yeah, its Delta V has gone down. So it's a slightly heavier engine, but we should be able to bring that back up. It was like 170 at the end there. So let's see if we can increase the size of this to 2 minutes 30. Why? Oh, there you go. 2 minutes 24. Whoops, too far. 2 minutes 37. So 2 minutes 30 should be in here. So 10188. It's still not pushing it all that much, so we can, I guess, see what if we can stretch this stage a little bit again. 237, 249. Yeah, 10279. So it really doesn't increase it all that much. So let's just keep it to our rated time. Take less of a risk. And do we need to R&D these? We do. So let's just take the cheap teams in both cases. I hate when it does that. I need to move this window. Oh, that's so annoying. Okay, and we're gonna have to R&D this one as well. So again, cheap team, and I don't need this engine. Okay, so we can R&D both of those down to 300,000 again, but we have sort of a more updated rocket that we can fly. And this, I'm probably going to see if I can get this into roughly the same plane that the moon orbits into. We want on a satellite up there that isn't going to die from lack of power, so I think what I should probably do is put more solar panels on here, and we should get rid of that R&D window. There we go. So we should put more solar panels on here because there's certainly not enough to keep it active the way they are. So if we take off the existing ones and we put on these ones, where's the... I don't necessarily need any science on it, so we can get rid of that. And if we just go this way and make sure we snap to angles, very small angles, mind you, and then just set it to 2, or to the symmetry to 2. And then if we zoom in, and then we can take 2, and the same will be applying on the opposite side as well. And we can just fill both sides really with solar panels. Do whatever we can to try and keep this thing active. One there. And the last one there. So as long as we've got one, I mean, we could just put it on one side, but as long as we've got one side facing outwards, it looks a lot more like Pioneer now. So Pioneer is here. So Pioneer 1. Some obvious spaces there that we could fit solar panels in. But we don't need my Pioneer 1. It's actually heavier. It's 0.02 tons. This is 0.01. So we may as well go with this. In fact, what's its power requirements though? Requires electric charge 500 milliwatts, and this requires a watt. So half the power requirements, but double the weight. Yeah. I'll stay with this one, but I think for future missions we're probably going to go for Pioneer 1. Okay, so this is fine as it is. Again, we're spending a lot without tooling the tanks, and this doesn't require any different tanks of the bottom stage, but this top one does. So, you know, we would have lost out on the tooling if we hadn't done that. Let's just resort everything back the usual way they go. Where are those rocket motors? They should still be there. Oh wait, hang on a second. Is that the bottom ones? It is the bottom ones. Okay, so they're going to detach first. Yeah, then we've got them there. Fine, it's all okay as we expect, and this should be a little bit more capable. 7,000. Make sure they're in a separate stage. And they're in the right order. And there we go. Okay, so our new updated Indigo Alpha 2. And we should be able to fly this. And let's see if we can get it roughly like the inclination of the moon. So we can use that to plot further flights. We'll be able to use McJeb's plotter to actually do that if we get it roughly in the right place. And of course, having it fairly high and having some sort of... In fact, let's see. Can we actually get a comm satellite? Can we use this for a comm satellite as well? That would be actually really useful. Let's just grab an antenna. Where are you, antennas? Take the Communitron 16S. So this is omnidirectional, but it has 2 megameter range, whereas these have like 100 kilometers. 400 kilometers respectively. So if we can get this up high, it will work. What's the power requirements though? That says 0.01 a second, but that's not RO units. So let's give this a try, but it's not activated by default, so we should be okay. Got to put it somewhere other than that though. Will there do? I sort of want to put it on the side somewhere, but I don't want to pop out of the fairings and the avionics. Yeah, interesting. Maybe if we take out that center solar panel and put it on here. That fits just about. Oh no, maybe not. We need to just incline it a little bit more. Yeah, look at that. That should fit, hopefully. Let's give it a try. Okay, that's everything. And let's give it a go. So here in the map view on the launch pad, we're just accelerating time until our launch site comes around and roughly gets to the plane of the moon. So let's just bring that around a little bit more. It's not far away. Seems to be about right. Let's give that a go. Actually, if I zoom out, we should be able to see that everything is aligned. Let's give this a go on the launch pad itself. I'm just going to enable the autopilot. I'm going to add a little bit more inclination, and let's see how close we get like that from our normal inclination. And let's start and retract the towers, and off we go. Let's see what that's like in orbit. And here we are in orbit. We're not far off. It's close. It won't be as close as when we get full on mech jeb, but if we have a look here, it's a couple of degrees off, and that's not too bad. But I'd like to get a little bit closer. Where are we? Let's just rotate around a little bit. So as you can see, this is our orbital path, this top line. So it's a couple of degrees off, and we can probably correct that with these descending nodes. But I can't target the moon at the moment because I don't have the tracking station upgraded. So it'll be easier to do that once we have the ascending and descending nodes. However, we have got something close to the lunar plane, and this will continue to charge. Unfortunately, I've deactivated this, but even with that, it's still draining power. Not very quickly, but it is still draining power. We've got plenty with this battery, but something we have to watch out for the future. And this antenna isn't even active just yet. No, it's not active. If I activate that, what happens? Will we... Oh, what do we get up here? Oh, more things destroyed. Was there anything good in there? Oh, that's the sun synchronous one. Nope, everything else has been destroyed by hitting the ground. We've got to get to stage recovery at some point later. So yeah, we can activate that. And will you drain power? You will. So let's just deactivate it for now until we need it. It still seems to be the same amount of power drain. Oh, well. Yeah, it's 0.01 per second, etc. if it's connected or not. So we've got the satellite here. We'll just leave it activated. Head back to the Space Center, and then we will head on to the next part. Okay, so the next thing we need to actually look at is definitely going to upgrading that. So we get patch conics visible in the map. And what do we get from this? Tracking station upgrade for flight planning. So we need both of those. So we're going to need 500,000 plus. So I'm going to need to do some missions. That won't be in this episode. I'm going to do them between the episodes. See if we can get a few of these up and running. We've got 286,000. So I'm probably going to want double that at the moment, which means quite a few missions. So I may well tool some of those tanks now if I can do any of these missions. Still can't do that one, I don't think. Not with that even more communication satellites. So yeah, I will have to have a look for some more missions. Hopefully join me next episode when we're going to try a lunar flyby at least, if not a lunar impact. I don't think I'm going to get a lunar impact, but we could get lucky and see where we go from there. We can of course take the missions in here to actually get a boost of money now. So that is one way of doing it. But if we do that, it will give us a limit by which we have to do this by. So this will give us 300,000, and Lunar Impactors will give us another 350,000. Yeah, but we only get 150 on the advance of either one, so we'd need 300,000 by taking both of them. Oh my. Can we do it? We'll have to see next episode. Once again, thanks a lot for watching. Feel free to subscribe, share, and like as normal. And let me know in the comments if you've got any suggestions for specific vehicles that we could launch towards the moon. Otherwise, I'll probably be building something with a solid-state booster of some kind. We just need to get it into orbit. Thanks a lot for watching.